You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Hi, all you he-males and whoops, that almost turned out bad. Hi, all you men and ladies, all you gender-neutral people, all you cis bastards, and you identifying as a banana cream pie.
And now competing for the worst opening of all time, Alec Ransom.
Hell no, yours was hot trash. Mine's entertaining and offensive. So you keep your dirty whore mouth shut while I'm talking, or I'm going to come over there, I'm going to slap the Giles out of your face, and they won't stop jiggling for 4 weeks. I'm very mad. I'm going to be very mean. It's going to be quite offensive. So strap in, you nerds. This is the way it's going to be. I'm standing outside my house, probably going to get arrested for being too loud tonight. I'm Alec Ransom. Get over it.
All right.
I'm the reigning, defending, undisputed cruiserweight advocate of the world, and the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed, universal jackass of the world, Poot the Snard.
Burbard.
Burbard. We also have Jowl City Beef the Legend.
I took it up in my mouth.
Yeah, you're the worst. And also the very distinguished, because he's a Marine and can kick my ass, Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom.
Thank
I have
you.
nothing bad to say about you.
Thank you.
That's not
Appreciate
fair.
that.
Just because he can kick your ass doesn't mean that you should, namby-pamby him.
Do you have any idea how fast a Marine can kill you? I'm not messing with that. I'm no dummy.
Pray. I can only pray.
He's also the sponsor, so we gotta butter him up,
No,
So
you don't have to pull any punches, as we've found out in past episodes. But I will tell you one thing, Ransom. Your bullet is much faster than me. So I mean,
Ooh.
I am not willing to take that bet. Nope. Not willing to do it. I won't do it.
I will say at close range, I think you have me, but give me 200 to 300 yards, and I think I'll be all right.
I think you would be
hey, speaking of sponsors, would someone please, for the love of Pete, thank the man who has the connection that got us some awesome T-shirts?
Yeah, man, I will do it this time because I am the only one of us four idiots who is actually supporting Tiger Bomb Tom, Casual Gaming Dad himself.
I was going to say, one of us four, you mean one of you three, because I support myself all the time.
That is true.
Yeah, learn how numbers work.
Math.
I'm a champ, not a mathematician. All right? I'm no nerd. All right, so Casual Gaming Dad himself, Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom, I picked up off of Gould Gaming, which is where he has his merch through. I picked up one of the NWO style Casual Gaming Dad shirts.
Yeah,
CGD
I saw that
shirts, and I love it. And I'm gonna wear it this Saturday when my band Hellbent performs over in Du Bois. There, it's gonna be my stage shirt.
And by the way, I will. I'm still waiting to get. I wanted to actually talk to Taylor from Gould Gaming, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now since we talked about it the other day. That, ladies and gents, coming soon to the Casual Gaming Dad section of Gould Gaming is some Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast T-shirts. Yeah, so
that's
awesome.
Fan-frickin-tastic. And
get your merch.
Tiger
Get your
Bomb, I
merch.
didn't realize that you carried tarp size in your online store.
we do.
Wow.
Yeah, we do. I think all the way up to 5XL. Yeah.
I prefer the term Big McLarge Huge. Thank you. And
hey, and let's
listen.
not forget about we've thanked CGD over here, and we did mention Gold Gaming because we really appreciate everything he's done for us and continue to do for us.
Yes.
But we definitely want to make sure we plug IWCX or IWC Clearfield X, October the 12th, Saturday in Clearfield, Pennsylvania.
That's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's coming up real soon. VIP tickets are flying.
I got to say this. We have connections to Mr. Sean Tischler, which, by the way, Sean, thank you so much for number one, being kind of partnered with the podcast and also being a really great guy. We're going to have our tickets. Sean and I both, number one, being a champion. Number two, being a working musician. And number three, being a local celebrity here in my little hometown.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Somebody pop a thunderhead balloon, please.
I'm silent. Both of us. Both of myself. Both of myself. No.
Blimp head.
Both myself and Mr. Sean Tischler are constantly wheeling and dealing, styling and profiling. Woo! So we have a hard time getting together. Our schedules, his guys got to talk to my guys got to talk to his guys, but we have our tickets. We're going to be there. If you see any one of us wearing our beautiful Ghoul Gaming Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast shirts with our names on the back, come up and say hi. We'd love to talk to you.
And then probably get super kicked in the face by Ransom.
Oh yeah,
but sure. You can't have our shirts. You can have shirts that look like our shirts, but you don't get our names on the back because we're cool. And you haven't paid us $49.99 yet, so you haven't earned that right.
Bitches!
So.
Yeah, where are our $49.99s?
Exactly.
All of them.
All of them.
Show's canceled. Shut it off.
Show's canceled. Here we go. We're done.
Show's canceled. Fuck it. We're done. So what do we want to talk about first here tonight, fellas?
Do you want to talk about Clash of Champions? We really haven't reviewed that one yet.
You know what? Let's hit that real quick. I'm just gonna say, overall, I thought it was a good show. I thought the women's matches really shined brightly. and the only thing I had any sort of issue with was the fact that I didn't know going into. And none of us knew going into predictions that the Roman Reigns Eric Rowan match was going to be a no DQ match because
I did. They announced it on the SmackDown prior.
No, I think they announced that SmackDown that night.
Yeah, actually. I think you were in on that before we were. So
yeah. So I had no clue going into that. Had I known that, I definitely would pick Rowan because I would have thought okay, there's going to be some interference fuckery. However, I still wouldn't have expected Luke Harper, which thank God they got him back on TV now. So
that was
Didn't we just talk about that on that
one
episode?
We did.
We did.
Never come back.
You
did.
Even
Ask
asked.
And you shall receive.
I think Ransom, even you were the one who asked. Where's Luke Harper?
He did.
Proof positive that Vince McMahon listens to our podcast. So
Or rather, Steve.
Bruce Pritchard and I are old friends. We go way back. I was just throwing you guys a bone.
Or rather, Steve Beef. Or rather, Steve Boop listens to our podcast and then tells Vince McMahon.
That's right. That son of a bitch leaked another thing.
What did he do now?
Who is the Steve Boop guy?
Give the quick rundown.
You don't want to know. Okay, so Steve Boop is a guy that's met a lot of people that you wouldn't expect him to meet.
Steve Boop, but B-O-O-P?
Yeah, B.
Like Betty Boop.
Boop.
Like Betty Boop.
B-O-O-P. Yes.
I can't take this seriously already. Go ahead.
So, the notorious shitbagger Steve Boop, back in our 10 wrestling days, would shitbag all of us. He would not cooperate. He was like a big fucking bag of cement. So they would send me out there and they'd say, Beef, the Mastodon was my character, they'd stiff him. Okay. So I'd go out there and I'd just slam him and I'd lay the kicks into him and then I'd jump on him, I'd stomp him. I'm a big dude, so it definitely hurt. And so I locked him. Yeah, exactly. I came up with a submission move, and he was the one that I debuted on, which I called the Countdown to Extinction.
Mordor's on fire.
As it always is. Which was a Texas Cloverleaf Lion Tamer hybrid.
Right.
Which was popularized later, after I came up with it, by Eddie Guerrero.
Oh.
Wouldn't you know who met Eddie Guerrero in an airport about halfway between when I invented it and when he started using it? But Mr. Steve Boop ran into Eddie Guerrero in an airport, who I think he leaked my move to him.
That son of a bitch.
So that's one of the many things that Boop has done. So I think that Boop is, in fact, an insider for WWE, leaking our ideas to him. So, damn it, Steve, stop it. Anyway, Clash of the Champions, of the Night of Dead of the whatever.
Yeah.
Dead of the Champions.
I did not watch a single match of that pay-per-view.
It was good. It was good. It was a good show overall. It really was.
No idea what I was doing, but I wasn't watching that show.
Yeah.
We don't need
I missed a couple matches. No.
We don't need an entire card rundown, but what did you think a standout match on this was?
Well, the one thing I'll say is that I'm, pay-per-views like this tend to like sneak up on you because they're fairly unassuming.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness!
Ransom's getting arrested.
All right, cops are coming. Son of a bitch.
Hello, Ossifer. No.
Like pay-per-views like this are kind of sneaky because they come after a major pay-per-view like SummerSlam, and you think, okay, well, it's just gonna be, and they kind of sneaks up on you how decent it is. It was good. It was solid. For me, the match of the night, the standout thing for me was not a good standout. The standout thing for me was AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander because Alexander was just squashed, man. Like there was zero offense from him, and it was not a good look. And it's very proof positive that the guy who runs the pay-per-views is not the same guy who runs Monday Night Raw. And like those kind of things are starting to trickle through, which is a problem. But I digress.
Yeah. I think the standout match for me honestly was Sasha and Becky. I know it was a bit of a fucky ending, but I figured after like as soon as it went down the way it did, I was like, okay, they're setting up for Hell in a Cell, so it made sense. So,
I think, out of it all, I think
besides the Fiend.
The standout, well, yeah, the Fiend, but like the standout moment for me, honestly, was Eric Rowan Roman Reigns match, having Luke Harper come back. I know we mentioned it earlier, but like that was awesome. I love seeing Luke Harper on TV. Yeah, okay, maybe it's begrudged, maybe there's a little bit of awkwardness there because he requested his release and they won't give it, and he's still there. But like it was really cool seeing him back because he is the star. Also, he cut weight. Cut weight.
Him and Rusev Booth.
Oh my god! Come to the back of the booth.
Fucking Rusev looked like he's carved out of stone now. My god.
No,
Booth really. $1.25 pop.
No, Beef, you're absolutely right. Like Rusev looks like $1 million. Harper is looking good. And I even like this direction that they're taking Rowan. Seriously. Like
100%.
It's fantastic. And also the other one is Rude and Ziggler taking the tag belts. I mean, okay, whatever. It could have been the Revival, but whatever.
I'll tell you what, honestly, the one thing I liked about how that went down with that tag match, because we all knew that Ziggler and Rude were getting it. Rude pinned pinned Seth with his finisher. That you don't get any more of a clean win than that. It wasn't a shifty roll up. There wasn't any fuckery from Dolph helping him out with the pin. Like it was clean. I liked it. I liked how they did that. But overall, the pay-per-view was it was good.
Honestly, I think the Roman versus Eric Rowan match was actually a very good match. I was very entertained by it. So that may be the match of the night for me, because I expected that to be kind of what it was, and it went over my expectations. I wanted Becky versus Sasha was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the ending was way too overbooked. And I see what they're driving at, and I'm glad that they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match and all that sheboygan. But I mean, I don't know, man. It just felt way too overbooked for me.
It was a little overbooked, but I was still happy with it. I thought the match itself, before it got to the whole ending with them going out in the crowd and stuff, it was really good. You could tell that they were both stepping their game up, just from the in-ring work.
Oh yeah.
So like we said, matches aside, obviously the Fiend is going to be a standout thing in of itself, regardless of what show or pay-per-view it's on. I gotta say, fast forward here to last night's Monday Night Raw. I love how they did the fucking open of the show, with the Fiend infecting the opening.
Yeah,
that was really good. I will say the only thing that I did not like was that while the ending of last week's Monday Night Raw was cool with Seth Rollins basically shitting his pants in the corner of the ring.
Yeah,
they did it 2 weeks in a row.
Well,
literally.
This time,
but that visual of the Fiend taking down Strowman,
not even that. That was a cool visual because Strowman was the first person to fight back from the Fiend after the Fiend took him down. Not just that. But what else was cool? The Fiend was protecting Seth Rollins from Braun Strowman.
Ooh.
Think about it. Because he came in, he took down Braun Strowman, blah, 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 and he did his weird 4-legged crawl over. And then he looked at him. Rollins was turning away. The Fiend turned around and stood in that down 4-legged position, kind of doing this against Strowman and like literally moving with Strowman to protect him against Seth. And I think it was like he's protecting him to keep him as fresh as he can for their match. I
think that could be one way of looking at it, and I just looked at it as him just playing mind games and just fucking with Seth. Like I could destroy you at any moment I want to, but I'm gonna let you cower more, and I'm just gonna savor every fucking second of it. That's how I look at it. But either way, both perspectives are pretty cool, and the visual of it is awesome, and I love it.
Let me throw a wrench into things here because I have a thought. So Rey Mysterio won the Fatal 5-Way last night. I'm glad. I didn't really watch much of Raw. I've been tuning in less and less since football has returned. But last night's Raw just wasn't doing it for me, so I turned it off. I played Fallout or went to bed or something. So, I'm glad to hear that they brought back the elimination style Fatal 5-Way. That's cool. I'm really fucking pissed that Ricochet ate the first pin, but whatever. Okay, we'll get over it. So Rey Mysterio won, and it is what it is.
What the
Ransom,
fuck?
Are you okay, bro?
No, I'm good. Everything's fine.
Okay.
The world is burning around him.
Move on. Fine. Everything's fine.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here.
Move along.
Fine. We're all fine here. How are you?
We all flipped out here.
So Rey Mysterio won, and like I said, it is what it is.
Nah.
This is probably, I agree, but this is probably his last big push.
Oh yeah.
So believe what you will, but the word is that Seth and Becky are both losing their
That's
titles.
The new name for both of them.
Wow.
Bessie.
That's the couple name.
So word is that Betsy's are losing their titles at Hell in a Cell because they're both heading to SmackDown, which makes sense. Plus, it makes sense with who they're facing. So that being said, if you're into this whole Mysterio thing, giving him one last ride, I'm doing it for Dominic, yada, yada, yada. What if, and this is a season premiere now, next week, brand new stage, pyro, etc. So what if Rey beats Seth to protect Seth from losing to the Fiend? Because honestly, I could see Rey getting like a real quick pin on Seth and like shocking the world, and then just getting demonstratized against fucking the Fiend.
Here's my question. I have a thought and I have a question. If Rey is to win next week, does Bray still face Seth in a regular Hell in a Cell match, or would Bray face Rey Mysterio in a Hell in a Cell match, or just in general at Hell in a Cell for the title?
I think
that's a wonderful question. That's a wonderful question.
Can I pose this? I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
All right, so this past week they had Seth Rollins versus the Fiend at a house show. The Fiend put him in the Mandible Claw, did not release when the ref said, hey, you got to pull it. 1, 2, did the 5 count.
Yeah.
Disqualified him. Setting the stage. There are two things that happened that are very telling. Number one, that happened. So the Fiend, and it shows he doesn't care about wins and losses. He doesn't care about titles. The Fiend should not care about titles. He's kind of above that, in the sense of his character. Does it look good to have the belt on? Do I want to see the weird flesh, human flesh belt? Yes. They're going to do that.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
But anyway, so that happened. But also, the other thing that happened after the DQ win by Seth Rollins, because he wouldn't release the mandible claw, Rollins hit him with 4 curb stomps to put him on his back. And he stood over the Fiend yelling at him. The Fiend sat up like The Undertaker.
Nice.
So not only are they're making Rollins look strong, but they're making the Fiend look even stronger because they made him. It's not like with Strowman at Night of the Clash of the Dead of the Champions, where he curb stomped him 4 times plus a pedigree to get the win. He curb stomped him 4 times, which is what took down Brock Lesnar, and he didn't stay down. He sat up.
Yeah.
And it scared Rollins. But what I'm thinking is, here's the path that they take. If Mysterio wins that belt, they give him that last push, right? It's still gonna be Rollins Fiend.
Okay.
Why would, or the other thing is
triple threat?
No. I think what they would do is, if they didn't have Rollins versus Mysterio, if Mysterio wins that belt, or if they didn't have Rollins Fiend without the belt, they'd put Mysterio in there. Fiend wins the belt. Now it's all about Seth Rollins getting his belt back from the Fiend, but keeping Rollins strong because Rollins didn't lose in a high-profile match.
But if you believe what I brought up earlier, that they're headed to SmackDown, that doesn't make any sense. See, that's what I'm thinking. So if you're thinking the long con here, you realize that Seth Rollins is a great underdog. You realize that Seth Rollins versus The Fiend is a great marquee matchup. You realize you have 2 wrestlers who could pretty much go and do what they need to do and could tell an incredible story. Do you want to waste that on a B pay-per-view? Or do you want to use your get-out-of-jail-free card, have a guy like Rey Mysterio believably get one over on Seth, have Seth versus Braun at Hell in a Cell to finish up their thing, and then have The Fiend just obliterate Rey as he has done with many legends before him. Only to clash with Seth at WrestleMania.
Here's my thought. I think the only reason I don't here's why I don't think Rey is going to win the belt on Monday is because I feel like Rey is only there to try to have some sort of match with Seth, similar to the way Braun had a match with Seth last night. The Fiend is going to get involved. The Fiend is going to take down Rey. We saw Bray hanging up another photo on the wall of friends, but we didn't see who was on the other side. And obviously, I think Monday night we're going to get another Firefly Funhouse segment, and he's going to turn it over, and it's going to be Braun Strowman. So, and then I think he may be hanging up another one, and it's probably going to be Rey. So I honestly, I think that's the only reason why they're even having that, besides it being a new season, whatever, a season opener, quote unquote. They're going to have some sort of match with somebody versus Seth, and they want to have, big implications, but honestly, the Fiend's going to still get involved. And I think you're still going to get this is my thought. I think you're still going to get Seth versus Bray for the Universal title in Hell in a Cell at the pay-per-view. But I was just curious as to what you guys thought as far as if, it's a big if, they would actually, put the strap on Rey. But
as a transitional champion, when is Hell in a Cell?
Is October the 4th. 6th. No, 6th.
Or the 6th. The 6th. So yeah, the Sunday after the SmackDown premiere.
Yeah, so not this Sunday, but the following Sunday.
So you're saying hot potato the belt for a week and a half.
That doesn't make sense to me. And that's why I don't think Rey is going over.
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, if you're WWE and Paul Heyman, God bless Paul Heyman, he sees the big picture. And he understands that while he may be getting orders from the top, here's what's going to happen. Bray's going to be going over. Paul Heyman might be a guy going into the back and saying, hey, you know what? I agree. Let's put Bray over. But how about we do this instead? And Paul has always been a Mysterio guy, FYI.
Yeah, he has.
Why don't we do this, which will, A, make The Fiend look even, because you can't have The Fiend squash Seth Rollins. I don't care who you are, what you're saying. There's no way. It's not believable.
He won't squash him. He'll have the same type of match as how he did with Balor. It's going to be a good match, but it's not going to be a squash.
Which is kind of a squash, to be honest.
Balor got some offense.
Some.
Well, it's what it needed to be. It wasn't like a 2-minute squash match. It was a decent match, but it was like 75-25 Fiend like that, right. And that's pretty much.
And you're not going to get that with Rollins, I don't think, because Rollins is they've invested in Rollins, man. Like Rollins is their top guy. He's the guy that they have said him and Reigns are the guys that said we're going to put our product on your backs and you're going to carry us for the next 10 years.
So maybe you get something closer to a 50-50 or similar to the Rollins Lesnar match from SummerSlam, like, you know, it was except, you know, Rollins not coming out on top this time. I think that one was well paced.
That's what I'm saying with Mysterio. If you have Mysterio have a competitive match and get one over on Seth Rollins, oh my God, I can't believe he did it. You can then have him go up against Bray Wyatt in Hell in a Cell and just get the shit kicked in. Yeah. Just like zero offense and have The Fiend look even stronger. And then you're saving that bacon for later. Now, here's the only reason I don't think Ray will win on Monday. And that's because Brock's winning on Friday. And there is no way that you have two major title changes in the same week.
Ransom,
yeah, probably not.
Ransom, what's your take on this? Old man Ransom's at it again.
You climbing to the tree again?
Falling asleep. I don't like the idea of personal preference here, so shut up. I don't like the idea of The Fiend and Seth Rollins at a Hell in a Cell. I think that is that's a blockbuster match, and that deserves to be on a blockbuster stage. I don't even think a Survivor Series or a Rumble is good enough. Seth Rollins is the champion, as much as I might find Seth Rollins to be just meh, whatever. He's top star. To have him and The Fiend go one-on-one and have a clean finish, I mean, you have to. It's a Hell in a Cell. You can't have a disqualification. You can't have something like that. It's Hell in a Cell. I don't think the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is the venue for it. I don't like to use the word per se. I don't necessarily like the idea of hot potatoing a title belt, but they've done it before. So why not do it again? Let The Fiend squash somebody like Ray. Because if it hurts Ray, who cares? He's on his way out. I mean, it's no big deal to have him go in there and obliterate Rey Mysterio. Let him do that. You get the belt on The Fiend by having him completely mow over somebody, and you save The Fiend versus Rollins. You can have months of build-up to get you to Mania, and that's where you can have a blockbuster match on a blockbuster event. That's where I feel it should be. And I agree with Beef. I don't think they're going to do a title change on the SmackDown and a title change on the Raw. But it's going to be disappointing to have the blow-off of The Fiend versus Rollins in a match where you can't have a dusty finish. You can't have an escape for somebody. It's Hell in a Cell. I don't think it's going to be as monumental as it could be.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
and like I said, that scenario makes so much sense to me, especially with, like I said, I'm doing it for Dominic. Like that whole Rey Mysterio, it's a feel good thing, and I agree that whole thing's been played out. I'm a Mysterio fan, but this run has been very meh to me. He's beaten a lot of people he shouldn't have, i.e. Andrade, and i.e. winning on Monday night.
Where is Andrade? I'm sorry, sidebar.
SmackDown, but
yeah, getting fucking beaten the King of the Ring is what he's getting fucking doing.
Well,
but
give it time. Whenever they, yeah, I mean, like we said the same. We said the same thing about Harper. We were saying the same thing about Rusev for a while too. Now they brought Rusev back. Now they brought Harper back. So I mean, it's
And
we are on the eve of another draft.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean.
And there's always I think this is a good segue too. There's always the possibility of Andrade going, back over to, and I'm going to say over, not down.
Right.
Going back over to NXT for some stuff there and work some angles there.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, I kind of already know Beefsteak, so I want to save that. Ransom, did you get to watch any of NXT from its USA debut or anything like that?
I did not.
Okay. So
I'll tell you what, Tom, let me throw my stuff out there because I'm sure it's not going to be what you guys are thinking, and then you guys can kind of play off of mine, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So
Beef's legendary letdown, everybody.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of is, honestly. So I love NXT, and I mean that there's no hiding that, and I think their weekly show is traditionally very, very good. Their debut on USA was not so much. I liked Strong versus Velveteen Dream. It was a good match. Maybe 3 pushing 4 stars. Okay. The women's match was good. A weird winner, but whatever. But like it felt, and I swear there had to have been at least 6 commercial breaks in there on a 1-hour show, which just chopped up the show to all high heaven. And again, I don't know if that's USA's call. I don't know if that's WWE's call. I don't know if that's WWE selling the ad time. I don't know if USA is saying, well, you know what? We're putting it on your network, so you're going to take it. It just didn't feel good to me. It didn't feel great, and I felt like it needed to be great. Now, the second hour felt absolutely phenomenal. The second hour of NXT was as good of a hour of wrestling I've seen this year, with Walter and Imperium showing up, and then the Kushida showdown I thought was intense and amazing. I really, really, really liked the Cruiserweight matchup with Leo Rush. I thought that he did an amazing job, and I'm excited to see him do stuff. And I thought the brawl with Riddle and Killian Dane was exactly what you needed. I think the problem with the debut was the pacing and the match layout. I think that they could have more smartly laid out the matches to build a better audience going onto the network. That's my take on it.
Okay. I didn't have a problem with the match placement or anything like that. I figure for that first hour, I wasn't sure where they were going to put the North American title match, but I figured they were probably going to put it on USA, so it made sense to have it in the end of that first hour. It felt weird when you, like, for myself, because I don't have cable yet, which hopefully I should be getting. I gotta set that up. But turning once I finally got into the network, God help me, there was a freaking
everybody.
Yeah. Once I got into the network and I watched it from the beginning of that second hour, it was weird how it was just boom, there it was, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happened. With the North American title match, but it made sense to have the title match where it was, because you wanted something, you wanted some sort of big deal on USA to kind of start getting people drawn in a little bit. So overall, I thought it was a good debut. I'm glad that they didn't over polish things. Like that was one thing I wanted them to stay as much the same as they could coming into things, because that's what was setting them apart from Raw and SmackDown as it was. if you tried to over polish it and you tried to make NXT like another Raw or another SmackDown, it was going to fall flat. And I like the fact that it still had the quote unquote NXT feel. It still had that little bit of a gritty feel, but just they put just enough of a spit shine on it to, to pretty it up a little bit. I thought it was overall very well done, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing to see more weekly stuff from them, moving forward.
Hoot.
I really enjoyed it. I think they did the entire presentation very elegantly, and I think it was done in a manner befitting showing the entire roster and the strengths that they have. The raw talent that they have at their disposal in NXT is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just when you take a look at the top, I mean, I hate to do this because the top of any card of any organization is always mind-blowing. But you take a look at the top of the card in NXT, you have Adam Cole, you have Velveteen Dream, you have the rest of the Undisputed Era, you have Riddle, you have Kushida. I put him there, even though they haven't really done much with him yet. But I think once they pull the trigger with Kushida, it's going to be fantastic. You look at and even the guys who are on the cusp of that, Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic.
Absolutely.
I still think they should call him Dominic Dijak. I think Dominic Dijak rolls off the tongue better, but Dijakovic is starting to warm up. But I mean, even God, we forget about him so much. Roderick Strong. Give me a break. Roderick Strong is phenomenal. They don't call him the Messiah of the Backbreaker for no reason.
Right.
Like him and Dream, I think the ending, all I think that the ending of that match did was kind of bury Strong. I think that's I don't know any other way to put it, but it's a big statement. But every other member of the Undisputed Era won their titles relatively cleanly. Adam Cole won his cleanly. Red Dragon won theirs cleanly. And 1 second, Tom. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
But then Roderick Strong having that, it's. I like the whole thing of the Undisputed Era having to force that prophecy to be fulfilled. I like that, but to me, I'm don't have him win where it's Dream is fighting off the Undisputed Era. He fights them all off. They don't actually hit him or strike him. He's on top of things. Oh my God, Dream's going to pull this out. Look at him taking on the entire Undisputed Era. Oh, out of nowhere, Roderick Strong, bam, done. Instead of having the Undisputed Era actually intervene in the match. I don't know. It's the little details at that point. But I think, honestly, if they keep up the quality that they have, and they retain that essence of NXT, they're going to go shoulder to shoulder with AEW.
I agree. I think the one thing why they maybe went with the finish that they did, I think they needed to have some sort of dusty finish regardless, because we forget, as much as we sing the Undisputed Era's praise, they're supposed to be a heel faction.
True.
And while Red Dragon did win cleanly, the way they got their rematch though was from quote unquote shifty predicaments from the takeover, when they were like, hey, they didn't pin the legal man or whatever, we deserve a rematch, and then that's why they did that way and got it. So in a quote unquote heel fashion, they weaseled their rematch back and got it, even though they won cleanly in the rematch. Same thing with Roderick Strong. When he lost the triple threat match, he's like, I never got pinned. You can't beat me one-on-one. In typical heel fashion, he goaded, Velveteen into another title match, and he got it. But I think more so in this case, I think they maybe wanted to drive the point home that Roderick is supposed to be and still is a heel, because we lose that from all the charisma from Adam Cole and and the rest of the Undisputed Era. And the other thing I wanted to mention before I forgot was the opening for NXT, because I went back and watched it after available on the network with Triple H, how he set that up and introduced the show. That was phenomenal.
Didn't catch it, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
super cool. You go back and watch it.
Yeah, both of you guys, Ransom and Poot, go back and even if you just watch just the intro of Triple H, introducing the show, it's awesome the way they do it, and you just got to see it. It's so well done.
Let me lay this out there for you and tell me if this makes a little bit more sense. As far as,
are we going to hear Ransom's take on this? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
he
didn't watch it.
See it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, never mind. Go on, Beef.
So here's so this passes my eye test. Not about yours, but so let's say that we start off with the debut on USA. And let's say we lead with that title change. Let's say we do, 30 minutes of Strong versus Dream. You have the Walter Kushida segment between that. And then in the main event, you have the Riddle versus Dane thing, which ends in a all-out brawl involving the entire NXT locker room. Now, to me, and then, you're going off the air on USA, as everything's just havoc, Dominic Dijakovic is flying everywhere, and, everybody's getting into everybody. You're going off the network saying, follow us over, fans, to the WWE Network, where you can catch hour 2 of this amazing program. So you get the feeling of not only an old school Raw or an old school Nitro where they go off the air and it's just a pure 6 brawl and it's chaos, and you're like, I can't wait to see what happens next. But you also grab viewers, and I get that NXT is probably not going to grab a lot of people who don't already have the network, but you never know. You could potentially grab viewers who don't have the network and say, hey, you know what? I want to see what happens next. I'm going to go get a network free trial and check it out. To me, I think, and yes, I understand that you are putting all of your eggs in that basket. And again, I'll say it. I think that Oney Lorcan versus Lio Rush was an amazing match, probably the match of the night. So I think you still could have had that headline hour 2.
You forget, just on a side note, it's really easy for everyone who watches to forget how absolutely fucking good Lio Rush really is.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
I got a quick question, which I assume you're getting to. But if you do the order that you're saying, what would you have put as the main event in the second hour on the network? Would you put the women's match, or would you put something else?
Probably the women's match. I mean, because as good as Rush versus Oney Lorcan was, at the end of the day, it's not. It doesn't draw quite as much water as that title, as the women's title does, and that's what it was. And plus, you had Candice LeRae going over, who is kind of the sweetheart of the women's division. Candice is finally getting her shot. So I think that if you do that, and yes, and like I said, I know that you're putting all of your heavy hitters on 1 hour, and that's okay because that's what you're supposed to be doing. They have a 2-week jump on AEW to try and retain those viewers, which, oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but during the broadcast on USA, there was definitely an AEW commercial, which I thought was ballsy as hell, and just smart. Once again, Cody and the Bucks and Kenny show how fucking smart that they are.
Well, that's a good segue into speaking of Kenny. If anybody is unfamiliar with what's been going on, Kenny Omega has been making some waves online here. Basically, he was being interviewed, and he to paraphrase, he had said in regards to NXT about their debut on USA and stuff. He basically said, if there were no multiple promotions and we were in one big company, those guys would be in the dark match and in my, I'd be main eventing or whatever.
Man.
Now hear me out on this, because I've had time to think and stew about this a little bit. I don't have my first reaction was like, Kenny, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's kind of uncalled for. But then I really thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? If he's shooting and he really thinks that he's that good, all he's done now is light a fire under their ass to be like, hey, go outperform me. And that's exactly what you got to do. If you want to shut him up, go outperform Kenny Omega. He said, I don't see how you could call it competition when you have developmental talent or whatever. And that part I don't agree with, whether he's shooting or working, because NXT isn't just a developmental system. The Performance Center is, but NXT itself, it's its own third brand right now. But if it's a work, which it seems to be that he kind of was kind of in character or whatever, or he's kind of going for this like more of a heel turn with AEW coming up on live TV, which is nice because that'll give you another dimension to Kenny's character. If he's just doing a work and he's saying that stuff just to get a rise out of them, then all the better. Like, that just makes you, that just adds layers to his character and gives another little twist to his kind of heel persona, because heel Kenny Omega is gonna go over a little bit more better than smiling thumbs up, like I'm friends with everybody Kenny Omega. So I don't really have a problem with what he said. I do disagree about him saying it being developmental talent, but honestly, I don't have a problem with what he did. And I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously,
he's working him. It's a work, man, because Kenny. Yeah. The one thing I know about Kenny Omega is that he pretty much respects the craft, and he respects the people that are busting their asses.
Yeah.
So like, there's like, I know that he, say what you will, it's a competition. They may not have wanted it, but here it is nonetheless.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he's definitely working him, because he's definitely, if you watch the snippets of being the elite, he's definitely kind of going over with the heel persona, which you're right. Heel Kenny is best Kenny in my estimation. Tweener Kenny's pretty good too, but like face Kenny, like, hey, I'm here, ha, like, is just not gonna do not gonna do justice. So
I want to see any babyface come out and use that exact phrase. Hey, I'm here. Ha.
He does it best. Ha. He does it best when he cuts a promo where he's saying he is the best ever. Like that, like Kenny, like, okay. Do I think he's working them? Yes. Do I think he's doing it to get whatever kind of eyes? It's the old adage of no press is bad press. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But, man, I got to tell you something. I understand you could be working them and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But pride goeth before the fall, dude. NXT has, and let alone WWE, NXT has been running for so long, and saying developmental talent, that to me, 80% of the time that's erroneous in NXT, because most of these people have been on the indies cutting their teeth. Like,
I disagree. You're not
You're
wrong,
not.
But
let me finish.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they have to be taught how to work the WWE style, in the sense of work the hard cam when you come in. Like, it's basically all the production side of things.
Right.
Now, and that's fine. You got to learn that, because whenever you get up to the main roster, you're not going to be told that. You're not going to have that little bit of guidance and handle. You got to expect that. You know what I mean? However, like, these guys, just even, again, I hate to use them as the example, but it's true. The Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. You look at the four of them, they have cut their teeth on the indies. They know how to do it. And the way that Kenny said it, it doesn't matter how he meant it, but like the way he said it is like these developmental talent, they'd be, you know, I'd be in the main event, they'd be in the undercard, blah, 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 whatever. Man, I'm going to tell you something. You're including Adam Cole and the Velveteen Dream in that, like, and I mean, even Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, like, again, using all the same people I used as an example before. I mean, even Candice LeRae. Like, these people are people who have been wrestling for a long time, and they know what they're doing. It's just a matter of how they work within the microcosm and the ecosystem of WWE. Like, you make those statements. AEW has not had their regular weekly show yet. They're going to be launching it. They're going to be going. And for all we know, and I don't believe it will be, because they've had a long time to plan and they have good minds and good backing behind it. But, like, it could be a trash fire. It could end up being a trash fire. Like, we don't know. I mean,
right.
I don't think it will be. I think at worst it'll be decent. But that's my point. Is like, you can't make those declarative statements until you have, you know, the pardon the pun, the aces and eights to lay down on the table and say, there it is. Let's the dead man's hand, like, outside of the wrestling thing, but like lay down the dead man's hand and say, I win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think there, Ransom?
I don't know how you call NXT developmental when, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to whether it's a work or a shoot. You know, if it's a work, you can say whatever you want, in my opinion.
Right.
Like, I you know, at that point you're playing a character. That's no different than a character on a sitcom saying something. Yeah, or, you know, a character on a TV drama saying something, or you know, the character of Tony Stark saying something. There's no difference. If it's a character.
Okay. Yeah, nothing is nothing's off limits whenever you're working.
Yeah, if it's a work, say whatever you want. You know, I honestly don't see a boundary. Say whatever. If it's a shoot, I don't know how you call NXT developmental and not have AEW in the same boat. I mean, sure, you have Jericho. You know, he's been to the top of the mountain, and no matter how much the WWE product might frustrate us at times, I know we've said it before, WWE is the top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. Right now. That could change. But WWE is the top of the mountain. He's been to the top. A lot of these other guys, though, I don't see where you know, Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks are any different than, or you know, are on any higher of a scale than Adam Cole or Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish. Like, what puts them on a higher scale? Because there's only one AEW show and Kenny Omega's on that show. That means your main event talent, whereas NXT is the pseudo developmental of WWE, and that's where these guys are.
Right.
I don't see any difference between NXT and AEW as far as one is higher on the scale than the other.
Right. The only thing I'll give Kenny Omega is that he did main event Tokyo Dome in New Japan. So there is that. But
on the Western Hemisphere, you're 100% right. WWE is the place to go. Are they a worldwide entity? They sure are. But in the Eastern world, you got New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Kenny Omega was the star over there for a solid 2 to 3 years and was the guy who held the belt for an entire year cycle from Wrestle Kingdom to Wrestle Kingdom. So
but here's my point, though, is that, you know, not taking anything away from New Japan, but New Japan, sure, it's global because you can watch it here, but it's not as global. Like, WWE is much more global than New Japan.
Right. It's more easily accessible. Go freaking reach.
Freaking everywhere.
I don't know about that though. Like that's our perception as like people who are here now. But I wonder if people in Japan view in New Japan Pro Wrestling the same way, where it's like more global than WWE. Because yes, but you have to think about it, man. WWE is live in our time zones, which, by the way, Fox is showing at 8 o'clock Eastern time and then at 8 o'clock Pacific time. So basically posting it for 2 hours, or 3 hours rather. But like it's live in our time zone, but across the world, that's at like 2 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning or like 2 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
So like I don't know that it's as accessible as we all think it is. But as far as developmental talent, here's what I want to say. And again, you guys know me. I'm a huge NXT fan. I'll tell you that it's the best product probably in the world right now. That being said, it's developmental because there's one guy who owns the whole shebang. And he can take and pluck as he so desires. And in 2 weeks, they're having a draft for Raw and SmackDown, which they consider to be the quote-unquote main roster. I'm super excited that NXT has its own show, and I'm excited to see what they do with 2 hours of it. But at the end of the day, Vince is still going to say he's going to do exactly what he did this year at WrestleMania and say, give me your 4 best guys. And Triple H is going to have to kowtow and say, all right, see you later, Undisputed Era. See you later, Velveteen Dream. We're going to make new stars because that's what they do. But at the end of the day, like Vince says, here's how it goes. And I mean, yes, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with Vince wanting to win competition, as we know that he does against AEW, whether he's going to continue to do that. But I get the feeling, especially with Fox pulling some strings, that Vince is going to be bowing down to them more so than he is anything else. So if Fox says, hey, I want The Fiend, which, oh, by the way, they have. I just read that tonight. If Fox says, hey, I want Lesnar, hey, I want, Goldberg, they've given Vince McMahon millions of dollars. Vince McMahon has to say, okay, that's how it is.
Well, I mean, he can try to fight it all he wants, but I think if Fox stands firm on something they want, they're going to get it. Well, I'm sure they'll get pushback from Vince, but if Vince can't convince them, if they stand firm on something that they want, they're going to get it. They're big money. They're going to get it.
As far as the developmental goes, though, I don't think just because Vince is going to be able to, and probably still will at times, take and pluck people from one show to the next, that doesn't make NXT developmental in my eyes. It just makes it another brand because they can take
utility. Well, so I think the word developmental is maybe antiquated now. I think the word now is utility.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. In my eyes, the fact that NXT one has its own show now, okay, and two, can take and they can do stuff with people who have been floundering on Raw and SmackDown. I don't necessarily see that as like developmental. I just see it as like it's just another different spot because like all you're doing is just taking and picking in people and moving chess pieces around and getting better matchups on one show or another. Like it's just like anything else. If when you run out of opponents for Dolph Ziggler to face on SmackDown, you move him to Raw and you give him some fresh new matchups there. And then when he runs out of shit there, maybe pop him over to NXT for a little bit. It doesn't make NXT any lesser saying it's developmental. Now, yes, you are going to have you're going to have a larger percentage of talent that's coming out of the Performance Center that is developmental talent. You're going to have them coming onto the NXT show, but that's the beauty of it, is that NXT has a nice mixture of that plus seasoned veterans who have been world traveled or veterans from Raw and SmackDown who you can work in there with seamlessly, and it gives NXT that indie feel with a big WWE production thing. So it's, again, I'm trying to get myself out of the mindset of thinking of NXT as a developmental brand. It's a brand in its own. It's a third brand that utilizes a little bit heavier on developmental talent from the Performance Center. But make no mistake about it, the talent that we see on NXT, like there's a couple of people on there that I'm like, oh, I have no idea who they were, because they just haven't gotten TV time yet on the pre-recorded shows, before the USA debut. There's still probably a shit ton of talent down in the Performance Center that's not even, that's not being utilized on camera yet. But it'll be nice to see, to plug them in there here and there. Those might be the quote unquote jobbers that you get, on an NXT show. But still, it's going to give them camera time. It's going to give them experience, and that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. So,
hey, look, I'm bored with NXT. I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Oh boy. All right. Should we thank our sponsors first?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Wow.
Oh wow. Our sponsor said no. So go ahead, Ransom. Knock them out.
There you go.
Hell with them. So I want to talk about something. I'm sure the four of us are familiar with this character, but I don't know how familiar everybody who listens to the podcast is. Depends on how long you've been into wrestling. There once upon a time was in the WWE's a character by the name of Mohammad Hassan.
Whoa, boy.
Yeah, strap in. So Mohammad Hassan was billed as an Arab American. I want to preface this and make sure that is emphasized before this.
Who is actually Italian.
Yeah, pretty much. Before this, gets into, because I'm looking to get into an argument with somebody on this.
Oh boy!
Whether it's on this show or whether it's off the show in a Facebook chat, I want to argue to somebody's face. So this
cue
guy,
up Matt Jackson.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, cue up old Dingleberry there. This guy was billed as an Arab American, born in America, character-wise, born in America. Not born in any Arab countries, born in America. He did an Arab American thing. That was his gimmick for a while. Got crushed by a bunch of faces. Had a pretty good run. When was it? 2005. He was on a really big hot streak. They were really pushing him, and he really was over, not as a face, of course, but like over as in popularity-wise. He's very, very popular. He was getting a lot of momentum. He was getting a lot of, steam behind him. Then suddenly in 2005, there was an incident that just flatlined him, buried him, and saw him off. And I want to talk about that incident. So bear with me here. There's going to be a lot of talking because I'm going to read some stuff here. Okay. And one of the most controversial moments in WWE history, on an episode of SmackDown, taped on July 4th, 2005, the SmackDown general manager Theodore Long put Hassan in a match against The Undertaker at the Great American Bash. So Daivari was in a match that night on SmackDown against The Undertaker. Daivari, words are hard, was defeated, but Hassan began to pray, quote unquote, pray on the ramp, summoning 5 masked men dressed in black shirts, ski masks, and camo pants. Armed with clubs and piano wire, they beat and choked The Undertaker out, and Hassan put him in the camel clutch. Afterwards, the masked men lifted Daivari up over their heads and carried him away. Okay. So, think of that what you will. Here's where I think Hassan gets buried. Not his fault. This is just the way the cookie crumbles. Blah, 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 blah. 3 days later, the London bombings took place. Okay? Not great. Not great for anybody. So the angle where Hassan did this praying thing, the guys came out, beat The Undertaker down with clubs, choked him out with piano wire, lifted Daivari over their heads and walked them out. That aired after it was taped. So it aired after the London bombings. There was it said that the angle elicited national attention in the New York Post, TV Guide, and Variety, as well as other major media outlets. In response to the criticism, UPN decided that it would monitor the storyline closely and that it did not want the Hassan character on its network that week. A bunch of stuff later happened, yada, yada, yada. They went on with this. But ultimately what ended up happening was Undertaker beat Hassan at the Great American Bash, powerbombed him through the stage, left him in a pool of blood. He was taken away in an ambulance, and you never saw Mohammad Hassan again. So part of it bad timing, part of it I think oversensitivity. Now this is going to be my opinion. I want to get your guys' opinion on the whole thing. Sure, shit happens. And I can see where they would bridge the whole, world event that happened in London over to kind of, with this Mohammad Hassan character and these guys in ski masks, yada, yada, yada. I'll admit that I can see you bridging that there. But at the same time, Mohammad Hassan never once said that he came from any of those other countries. He always stated he's from Detroit. He's an Arab American. They never made reference to an Arab country, even with these guys in ski masks. They never said these guys in ski masks were Arab. None of that was ever said on television. It was maybe implied, sure, but never said. My opinion is that Mohammad Hassan got the shaft real bad, and I feel like he shouldn't have. And here's my reason why. How many other television shows have had storylines with Middle Eastern bad guys, Arab bad guys, people doing terrible things, people shooting, people blowing up, people doing all this ruckusy stuff? It's a television show. It's not real. It was 2005. Kayfabe was long dead. People understood that wrestling was fake and that it was a television show. They had started calling it sports entertainment at that point, not wrestling. It was entertainment. I don't agree with the shaft that Mohammad Hassan took. He was great on the mic. He was great in the ring. If they were worried about something, they could have repackaged him to something else. They could have maybe dropped off a lot of the emphasis on the whole Arab American thing. He could have still been Mohammad Hassan, but they could have toned it down a bit. WWE has done a lot of other questionable things. A lot. They crucified Steve Austin on an Undertaker cross.
Choppy pee-pee.
They had choppy pee-pee. They had Katie Vick. They had freaking old Bags McGinty give birth to a hand.
They literally
that Mark Henry inseminated her with. They
literally had any mud pit like evening gown, lingerie. Oh, live sex celebration.
Yes. How did I not come up with that?
No, I think that was after. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They still did it. They had the Billy and Chuck, quote unquote gay wedding that ended up in a disaster brawl. They have done a lot of very questionable things. And it never wrecked anybody's career like it wrecked Mohammad Hassan. I want to get your guys' opinion on, what WWE did there. Do you think that, sure, you know what? It was bad timing. Sucks to be you, Mr. Hassan, but you're done. You're out. You're going to fall on the sword for us. Not we're going to try to help you out regardless of how. He was supposed to face Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he was supposed to win it. He was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. That's how high on the list he was. Suddenly dead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
Here's my opinion. I wasn't watching during that time, so I could give two shits less. I passed the mic to Poot.
Okay, so I wasn't watching that time either, but I have gone back and researched quite a bit of the dead time when I wasn't watching wrestling during my college career and stuff like that. The Mohammad Hassan thing is really infamous, has really kind of gained like almost folklore because and I can't remember his kayfabe name, his shoot name, but like the man is Italian. First of all, he's Italian. Mm-hmm. It's the whole Yokozuna effect, right? But that aside, I think with the climate, not just in the U.S., but in the world, I think that WWE had no option. Well, they had the option. You always have an option. Let me get that out of the way. You always have an option to make a call that might be controversial at the time, but you go, stick with us. It's going somewhere. But I think the patriotism at that time and the sympathy for other countries that have mass incidences that are tragic and awful and born out of hatred and xenophobia and, you know, whatever religious context there are. Like these incidences, these mass bombings, these mass killings, these mass injuries. At that time, I think it was what they felt like they had to do. You know, you can't, like, I mean, even in the only thing you would have been able to do at that time to get the actual wrestler, to get him work and actually get him paid of Mohammad Hassan would be to put him under a hood and rename him. Like, because even if he came out repackaged in some way where the gimmick of the Arab American was gone, even if you repackaged him as, you know, like something along the lines of a Party Marty Skrull, you know, just a guy who comes out is white face baby meat of, you know, like just placating to the crowd, dressing in bright colors, having a good time, here to have a good match. Yeah, let's all have fun. It wouldn't have worked. People would have remembered. It's the same thing. I'm going to throw out a name here. Lord Tensai. His first match after a few weeks of build and vignettes. What was the first thing out of people's mouths whenever he started wrestling? Albert. Same thing at that time, because he was so hot, he was so forward in the programming, and he did have such a high profile thing with The Undertaker, and he was going to win the world championship. Like, you can't just repackage him like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks later. People will remember. The only way you would have done it is put him under a hood. That's it. And they didn't want to do that. Listen, stop making noises over there. I'm giving my opinion. I was quiet when Tom talked. You be quiet now. So saith the champ. So you doeth. Like, I don't feel like at that time, in the climate of the world, you could have done that and gotten away with it. The only thing you could have done to try and ease this is after that whole incident with The Undertaker carrying him off and everything like that, and then these bombings happening, all you could have done was have him come out. You could have immediately turned him babyface by having him come out and denounce the actions that occurred and cut like a promo saying, this is not what it's about. But how do you get around it with what happened to The Undertaker? These people that came out and attacked him and carried him off. How do you get around that? How do you have him cut that promo and have people believe it? At the time in the world, people have booed the shit out of him no matter what. He could have paid each one of them $100, and everyone in that arena still would have booed the fuck out of him. It doesn't matter. Like, you couldn't have gotten out of it. This is the way that they got out of it because they were very knee-jerky. They didn't think long-term. And unfortunately, the guy just kind of suffered for it. But the nice thing is he's an educator now, and he's shaping minds of the future. So that's what matters.
Before Beef goes into whatever he's going to go into, I want to say one thing in response to Poot there. Kerwin White.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Eddie Guerrero passed.
But
No, you shut up. Eddie Guerrero passed. Kerwin White was gone. He was back to Chavo. Immediately.
Yeah, but the thing is, he has the history and the backing. If Mohammad Hassan was from a family of wrestlers that had the lineage that the Guerreros had, you could have gotten away with it. But he wasn't. It was the lineage of the Guerreros that allowed him to do that and allowed them to cut the Kerwin White thing and just have him be Chavo Guerrero. That is the only reason he could get away with that.
If I may. So I have many points to make, but first I want to address that poot. One word, two words. Bray Wyatt. Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt. Same guy, like maybe off for half a year?
People fucking chanted Husky Harris when he came out.
And he got over it. He grew it, and now look at him. He's like the talk of the
people have
world.
Bray Wyatt boners now.
But they
don't even remember. They don't even remember him as Husky Harris anymore.
You cannot put this guy. We can't even remember his kayfabe name. We can't even. You cannot put him on the level of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is a once in a generation
talent. He was pretty damn good, man.
He was good. He was good in the ring, and he was good with the character that they gave him. He could not have done the same thing. Not even close.
Disagree. So you're
Let
not.
Beef have a chance to talk it out here.
So listen up, Poot. Here's how it is. From someone who watched wrestling during this time, I'm gonna tell you that Mohammad Hassan had fucking chops. He could go in the ring, and he was gold on the mic.
I admitted that, but go on.
Here's the thing. You guys are all right. The tone, the tenor, the climate of the world, everything really conspired against him. There's one other guy that I can think that had the wrestling world in the palm of his hand, and like the situation fucked him, and that's Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson was on fucking par to be like the next Stone Cold, and just because of how shit happened through no fault of his own, well, through a little bit of fault of his own, it just spiraled way out of his fucking control, and that was that. Mohammad Hassan is right there with him because he had a lot of talent. He was great on the mic. He was really good in the ring. And he had a rocket strapped to his back. He was going to the top. He was going to win titles. And he was probably the Iron Sheik for the new generation. WWE made the mistake here. And it's Vince McMahon being hard-headed. Ransom, remind me, did they actually aired that segment after it was taped, right?
They did. They aired it. The only place it didn't air was in Australia and in Europe.
So Vince McMahon had the call to say, you know what? This is not a good time. Let's put together some video packages. Let's pull this. Let's replan this. And for all of the people that Vince has on staff, all of his yes men, someone should have had the foresight to say, this is not a good idea. We should stop this. It has not aired. Let's cut it. Let's shove it in a hole somewhere, and let's go somewhere else with it. That is 100% on Vince, on production. They failed the athlete. But, and Ransom, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of agree with you.
Oh boy.
I know, right? Like, it's weird fucking intersection in the universe. I think Vince Russo had some sort of and God help me now, I'm fucking quoting fucking Russo. Well,
Jim Cornette is gonna shoot you.
I know, right?
Shoot you down.
So Vince Russo was kind of the opinion that you could do no wrong. If it got people talking, and if it got WWE in the news or wrestling period, maybe it wasn't such a bad thing. So the knee-jerkiness. So yes, Vince made the mistake of letting it go to air. That should have never happened, and someone should have gotten into his ear before that happened and said, "We're making a mistake." But that being said, once it did, you have two options. Turn tail, kowtow, and say, you know what? You're right, UPN. We're going to remove him we're going to kill the character off. And then, go down the route of repackaging or whatever you want, or fire him, which they did. Or you ride that wave. And you say, hey, you know what? People hate him. People hate this. Let's channel it. Let's use it. You know what? Like, you have security at venues for a reason. You had Sergeant Slaughter, Captain fucking America, turn into an Iran sympathizer for WrestleMania 7. Rumor had it that they had to move WrestleMania because of threats on Sarge's life. You mean to tell me that same company who did that during the fucking Gulf War, same man, same fucking same. The only thing different that happened was September the 11th, that turned everybody into a patriot for 7 years, 8 years, and now we're all back to being dickheads again.
Yep.
The tact was missing, yes, because look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man was delayed because of the whole Two Towers thing, because Sony had the thought, okay, you know what? We need to reshoot this. We need to rethink it. Let's fix it. Vince didn't have that same mental acumen. But what Vince should have done is what Vince does well, which is capitalize on situations. I think that he should have taken the villainous Mohammad Hassan and, God help me, double down. You know what? Maybe I am, an Arab American, but I'm more proud to be an Arab than I am an American at this point. Say something like that to absolutely just garner even more hatred. And if you're going to make this guy your top star, do it right. If you're going to make this guy a shitbag heel for the next 15 years, which he probably could have been, do it right. You take that one moment in time where you could have said, we either get rid of him, or we make him a fucking supervillain, put him on our flagship show, Raw, to keep UPN happy, and let the chips fall where they may. So, Ransom, I'm drinking your Kool-Aid, man. They fucked it up real hard with Hassan.
So I want to close this topic out real quick here, and I want to say a lot of good points there, Beef. The whole Sergeant Slaughter thing during the Gulf War, I don't see that being any different. With Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, I don't see that being any different then than Mohammad Hassan was at his time, and they still rolled with Sergeant Slaughter. Like you said, they got threats and they had to change the venue because of it. They didn't even get that over Mohammad Hassan. They didn't get any of that. I hate the idea that WWE programming is different than any other fiction-based television show. Even after 9/11, even around the time of the London bombings, there were still things on television. 24, freaking Jack Bauer fighting the terrorists. They were still the bad guys. The terrorists were still the bad guys. The quote unquote Arabs were still the bad guys. I hate the idea that WWE has to be more reality based in its programming than these other shows, and people take it so far as to think that we can't have that on. That is too offensive. It is too close. No, it's not. It's fiction. It's fake. It's fiction. These are characters. The dude's not Arab, Italian. And another point to go off of that was, I had it and I just lost it. Can I get it back? Can I get it back? Can I get it back? Oh no. Beef, what were you saying? Oh, Daivari stayed. Yeah, you did. Daivari
sure did.
They kept Daivari. He was Kurt Angle's manager for a while. They didn't change his name. They didn't change his persona. Nothing. They let him stay.
And he was the guy that spoke Arab. He was the guy that was out there speaking in tongue. Like,
Oh, I got it back. Even during that whole angle, they never made mention of any sort of word that surrounded terrorists or terrorism. The guys came out and how many times have guys come out in masks or ski masks or tactical clothing, the shield? How many times has that happened? They never made reference to terrorism or terrorists in any way, any form or fashion in that whole angle. Not once. Now, I understand where it can be applied or assumed that these people in masks are Arabs or terrorists, whatever.
If you're
never
racist.
said it. Yeah, they never said that, though. So, like Poot said, I think he argued our point a little bit when he said they could have turned the tables. They could have made him a good guy. They could have flipped it around. Sure, it would have been a little bit harder to believe, but they could have done it. And that's my whole point in the thing, is that there are so many things that WWE could have done other than say, bye-bye. Something happened somewhere else, somewhere overseas that doesn't involve you. You're done. I'm done.
That's a great topic, man. Yeah. That was... Ransom, I gotta tell you, man, like, we have come to expect some great discussion topics from you, so keep it up, man. It's a great discussion.
That was really good.
Stump me. I'm a chump. Let me have it.
Yeah, let's do that. But first, I think we should thank our sponsors now.
Nope.
So
wait till the end.
Let me lead. Okay, we're gonna wait till the end. Okay.
Well, okay.
Well then. I mean, he's a sponsor, so he gets.
We're no different than WWE. We got to do what the sponsors say.
That's it. We got a cowtail. All right, so let's do the Stump of Chumps here. Once again, provided by the
Who's the real champ here?
Infamous at this point, Mid-Card Maniac. Being a Grand Slam champion in WWE is a rare thing, which I guess is kind of not true anymore. But anyway, there have been 18. Of those 18, how many of them were Grand Slam champion with the current titles? Either Tag, Intercontinental, US, WWE, or Universal?
Do you want us to name them, or just name a number, or give a number?
Give me a second here. And it does include the heavyweight title. So you're
talking about the current roster. You're not talking about Shawn Michaels.
Exactly. Okay. We're talking basically from the WCW purchase onward. I think he's looking for a number.
So if he's looking for a number, I'm going to say, Miz was one. Rollins was another.
Kurt Angle.
Wait, no. Well,
Angle was never U.S. champion, I don't think. I don't think he ever held the U.S. championship.
Actually, would Rollins considered that, because he never because he never held the SmackDown tag team titles.
I don't think they count that in there, because I thought it was
I think he's saying tag titles. So I think he's saying tag titles being tag titles. So
champion.
Hold on, wait. Read that question again. What's he looking for?
There have been 18 total. Of those 18, how many of them were Grand Slam champions with the current titles? Either Tag, Intercontinental, US, WWE, Universal. So basically, I think he's incorporating.
Okay, he did say either tag. So.
Well, now, is that WWE and World Tag Team Champions, or is that Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions?
Oh, God, this is...
Based upon how he's wording it, I think he's including the lineage. So, including the World and, WWE, as well as having the World title in there.
There have been 18 total?
So right off the bat...
18 total.
Right off the bat, Miz, Rollins, and Reigns...
Ambrose.
Did Ambrose?
Yeah. That was a big deal when he did. Brian?
Wait, no.
Wait, Ambrose
was.
Oh, no, because okay, yes.
Because he won the tag belts with Seth Rollins.
Right. I was thinking he never held the Universal, but I guess. So basically, what the Mid-Card Maniac is looking at here is basically saying a tag team championship, a top title, so WWE world title or universal title, and both of the mid-card titles, which is US and IC. So in that case, it would be, yes, Miz, Rollins, Dean Ambrose.
You know what? I'm not going to sit here and list them all. I'm going to throw out a number. 14.
Styles is another one.
I'm going to say 10.
But I feel like it's a lot.
But there's only been 18 total. I'm going to guess Poot's probably a little closer, but just to hedge our bets, I'm going to say 10. So I say 10, Poot says 14.
I'll even go, I'll say 16.
Okay, Ransom.
Isn't it? Wouldn't it be all of them? Because they would have had to have won the WWF and Intercontinental.
It could also have been European.
Yeah, European and hardcore.
Which one of them's
European and hardcore?
No.
Yeah, but hold on. Wait. Hold on. Who amongst those champions was never a WWE, a World or WWE Tag Team or Intercontinental Champion? Which one of these guys wasn't one of those title holders?
I don't know. I'm already. I'm getting more confused.
So, for example, so they're basically it used to be Triple Crown when it was just tag, Intercontinental, and heavyweights. Then it became Grand Slam whenever they added the European. So the hardcore title never factored in. It was always tag, European, Intercontinental, and then the WWF title. So then it was a completely new crop because the European went away, replaced with the US. So now the new Grand Slam is a tag team title, regardless of show, a tag team title, both of the mid-card titles, and a top tier, either the World Heavyweight, the WWE, the Universal. Yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I don't think any of them didn't win all. I don't know. I'm going to say 14. I don't know.
Shawn Michaels, for example, would have been a guy that would have been a Grand Slam champion without holding those belts currently because he was European Intercontinental Tag Team.
Shawn Michaels was WWF/WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, Tag Team champion, European champion, World Heavyweight champion. Like, he was all of those.
Right, but so the Mid-Card Maniac is saying the current titles. So disincluding the European title, which immediately eliminates Michaels and Triple H.
This question gets more confusing the more we talk about it. So why don't we just throw a random number out there and get it over with, because it's fucking mind fucking me right now.
I'm
going to say 14.
Okay.
I seriously think it's 16. I think it's all of them, but Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
All right, please. So 16, 14, 14, 10.
Oh, we all overshot it.
Really?
There are 9.
What?
Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Daniel Bryan, JBL, Booker T, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Bret Hart, and Edge. Oh yeah, Bret Hart was U.S. champion. I forgot about that.
Huh. What do you know?
How about that?
You stumped the chumps.
Good job,
Mid-Card Maniac. And Beef, what's the email to send Stump the Chumps to if anyone out there is listening and wants to try and stump us?
That is that's the Twitter. That's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com. You can also send them on Twitter, I suppose, to @PitPiledriver.
Just make sure to send excuse me. Make sure to send separate things, like one with the question, one with the answer, so that way we can all participate like we just did, so nothing gets spoiled ahead of time. Now, I have no idea what the order is going to be for Hot Tag Trivia, but I'd like to lead it off because my question is very simple. So I don't care. You guys can figure out who wants to do what order.
How about I ask Tom. Tom asks Ransom. No, wait. I asked Tom. Tom asked Beef. Beef asked me. I asked Ransom. Wait. I've gone cross-eyed.
You did.
Damn it, Poot.
Okay. Tom asks me. I ask Ransom. Ransom asks Beef. Beef asks Tom.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Good enough.
So I'm going to start it off.
All right, go ahead.
You guys don't mind.
Do it.
All right. Pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Yep.
So we had the King of the Ring wrap up recently, which we didn't really touch on. But the one thing I will say is, A, I love that Corbin is king, and B, I love the look that he has with the black crown.
It does look good.
It's a good look for him, and I think it suits his character.
Yep.
That said, my question is a simple question. Regardless of throughout the lineage of the King of the Ring, who was the very first King of the Ring? And give me the year as well.
And this is for me.
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
My gut reaction is Harley Race. Oh boy, this is tough. Like I said, my mind goes right to Harley Race.
Final answer?
No. Wait, no. Harley Race was the second one. It was Harley Race. And then... No, it started the year I was born. It was 85. It started the year I was born because I am the king of the P3 podcast and I was born in 85. Who was the first one? It was before Harley Race. Harley Race was number 2. Shit. Don Morocco, 85.
Final answer?
Yeah.
As you keep cutting in and out there, you're right. Yep, Don Morocco in 85. Good job.
85, Don Morocco. Woo!
He's looking it up. There's no way he knew that.
Yep.
I thought we went over this one time before.
Wow. Hurtful. Absolutely fucking hurtful.
But yeah, I call shenanigans on that too.
What? Why?
I don't trust you.
You're my advocate.
Getting shifty wins and ties and yeah.
How am I supposed to predict the future, you numbnut? Listen, whether by hook or by crook, I'm your champion. Tom, you're coming damn close. You're nipping at my heels, but you gotta try a little harder, buddy. All right, my turn. Ransom, my advocate, my beloved advocate. I got a good one for you. Everyone knows Shinsuke Nakamura. Good answer. You got it right.
Side note. I don't know if it's just me. I mean, but whenever you're talking,
he's cutting real hard.
Yeah, you're cutting real hard, Pooh.
Am I cutting real hard?
Oh yeah.
Am
you're
I
like
still
phasing in and out. Not at the moment.
No, you're okay
All
now.
right. Well, it's not on my end, so the recording will still be fine. So.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, the recording won't suffer if I cut out.
Okay.
All right. So Ransom, Cock Nakamura, right? You love him.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Your son loves him. Your boy loves him. Shinsuke Nakamura has had quite the legendary career, really. Like, everyone in WWE goes like, who is this guy now? Why was he so popular and why are they burying him? Just like another talent, Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I want you to tell me who trained Stone Cold Steve Austin and what date and year was his debut match?
In what?
Ever. Who trained him? Who is his official trainer? And what day and year was his first match?
Well, hold on. Like, first match on...
Ever.
Like in a bingo hall?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Ever.
Good Lord. No, I have no idea where his first match was. He was trained by Chris Adams.
Yep.
I have no idea where his first match. You want where or when?
I want when. I want day, month, year.
Jesus.
No idea. I have no idea. I'll tell you.
Where'd you pull Chris Adams out of?
The Stone Cold DVD.
All right, that's fair.
I watched that not too long ago. I can't remember which one, but one of them. I don't know. I think he debuted. Like I think he started wrestling according to the DVD that I watched sometime in 1983. But if that's right, I have no idea, and I don't know where.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get the full point for Chris Adams because that's obscure, but his debut was September 30th, 1989.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's when it says his debut was. So September 30th, 1989, Chris Adams. Everyone, round of applause for Ransom getting Chris Adams. That was good.
Yeah, you pulled that out of there.
Yeah,
That's good, man.
All right, if you're going to get this, it's going to be real easy. It's going to be real short. It's a triple parter.
Of course it is.
Face. I think you even mentioned it earlier, so it's going to be real fast. I like submission holds, and my son and I like to wrestle with each other and do submission holds. One of my favorite submission holds to put him in because it's super easy to do, and it's super effective. He taps out every time. I'm the champ at home. The Texas Cloverleaf. I love me a Texas Cloverleaf. Who made the Texas Cloverleaf famous?
Dean Malenko.
Indeed. That's right. Who else was a popular wrestler who had his own version of the Texas Cloverleaf, and what did he call it?
The Mastodon, and he called it the Countdown from Extinction, but I think you're referencing Eddie Guerrero's El Lasso from El Paso.
Yeah, Mastodon ain't popular. Nobody knows him.
Nope.
Also, so yes, correct, except for the Mastodon part. That was blatantly flawed. Who invented the Texas Cloverleaf?
Oh,
this is the one. This is the one that might stump you. So, if it does, great. If not, man, you're a wise ass. I don't care when. Man. I don't care where. I just want to know who.
I'm trying to think who Dean Malenko would have got it from because I know he didn't invent it. He just popularized it. I'll say Nick Bockwinkel.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Since that Mohammad Hassan segment, Tom has been super over this podcast.
I told you. I spoke my pieces that I needed to speak on the topics that I had. Otherwise, you guys were carrying it.
What's the surname of the Texas Tornado? Help me out.
Oh,
wasn't he a Von Erich?
Yeah, Von Erich.
Yeah,
Fritz Von Erich. Why not?
Nope. It wasn't a Von Erich. It wasn't any of the Von Erichs. Dory Funk Jr.
Oh
shit, Dory Funk Jr.
Makes sense too.
Beef, crush Poot's heart.
You mean Tom's heart? Because my question was already asked to me.
Well, I'd like for you to crush Poot's anyway, just because you know. Go for it.
Jeez, man.
Wow.
Tom says.
So Tom, in the vein of what we've all been doing here, I got a really easy one. So Hell in a Cell is coming up. We got to do predictions for next week. It seems like we're always doing fucking predictions for these shows. So I want you to tell me what the main event was for the first ever Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Who was it and who won?
The first ever?
First ever pay-per-view entitled Hell in a Cell.
Oh, fuck, I don't remember.
Nick Big
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember the first Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
I don't either.
If I'm not mistaken,
I'll give you the date if you'd like.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought the very first one in general was Michaels and Undertaker.
That was the first, yes, that was the first Hell in a Cell match. But I'm talking about the whole event.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm not going to waste your time.
So ironically,
Charlie Sheen.
It always feels like Hell in a Cell is like at the end of October, but it's actually started at the beginning and was actually in September one year. But the first ever Hell in a Cell originated from New Jersey and the Prudential Center on October 4th of 2009. The main event was the Generation X versus the Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase in a Tornado Tag Team Hell in a Cell match.
Really?
Okay, then. I would not have guessed that.
Not even close. I'd have guessed Michaels Undertaker.
And now, since you've been clamoring for it for the past 2 times and I've denied you, now we can thank the sponsors. I didn't need the ego trip beforehand. But go ahead and give it to me now. Give me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. Give my ego a rub as we shut out the show here.
Jerk him off. Go.
Yeah, stroke my ego.
We are so eternally grateful for the wonderful serendipitous attitude bestowed upon us by one Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bumper butt.
Tom. And his wonderful, amazing, and fantastic YouTube channel. And the Facebook page, Casual Gaming Dad.
All right.
And the Casual Gaming
Twitch
Dad
channel.
You can keep jerking me, but take the finger out of my ass. Come on, I don't need that.
In all seriousness, we always enjoy watching you do your thing on the old Facebook there.
Great job on Lion King, by the way.
Oh man, I'll tell you what.
That's a fucking toughie.
I'll tell you what. Number one, if it weren't on easy difficulty, I don't think anybody would have gotten nearly as far as we did. And number two, I gotta say I'm a little disappointed in myself because I had beaten it in a practice run offline before that, and then I got to the very end and just fucking choked on Scar. So yeah, I was a little let down, but
I walked in on that. The game fucked you. It wasn't.
But I'll tell you what, I won the matchup, and that's all that counts. Now this week I have what could be as equally of a tough matchup. Not as much the game itself, but the matchup, because it's me versus EVB Gamer on Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and EVB is a Zelda fanatic like myself, even probably a little bit more so. So I got my work cut out for me.
When can people catch that?
That I'm going to be doing my run this Thursday, so 2 days from now. So by the time the podcast gets out, it may have already have passed, but it'll be this Thursday at about 1 p.m. Eastern. So
it's a good run. That should be an exciting time.
That's right after I get off work, so I'll grab a 6-pack and sit down and watch it.
Yeah, we got a 90 minutes. Yeah, 90-minute run to get through as many dungeons as we can, as far as we can. Tiebreaker will be the number of items that we collect, not heart pieces, but just items. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm
non-randomizer, I take it.
Yeah, non-randomized like that. So actually, I'll probably be practicing a little bit here shortly.
Awesome.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And of course, we do want to, as always, give a shout out to Gold Gaming for the awesome shirts that he has given. And like Tom said, man, we are going to be. Thank you to Tom once again and his shop, where he's going to be hosting our shirts. That's right. You can get your own Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast merch. Feel free to get them and then, burn them or whatever, because whatever, you're still paying for them. So whatever, we don't care. Just
as long as we have your money, we don't care what you do with the shirt.
$49.99, you assholes. And of course, we definitely want to thank Sean Tischler and everything he's contributed to getting our name out there. And Clearfield, IWC Clearfield X. It's going to be a good show, because I know that IWC puts out nothing but good shows, because I know that Kato is an amazing wrestler, and I am super pumped to see Seabass.
I was going to say, man.
Just to talk to him. And not to put my mouth on trouble here, but I really want to get some FaceTime with Seabass before the event, since we're getting in early with the VIP, which you can get into. But I'd like to get some words with him and get some of his thoughts on the old podcaster in here, because I bet you he's a wealth of knowledge. But IWC Clearfield X is going to be fantastic. Talk to Sean. He can hook you up with a VIP package, which does include the early access, a signed poster, as well as a guaranteed ringside seat. You can also get ringside seats, and general admission will be available. Also available on the website, IWCWrestling.com, where you can go and order them there as well. But yeah, don't miss it. It should be a hell of a show.
Also, hey, I want to plug something real quick.
All right, go ahead.
This is something that I'm trying to put together with us. So anybody listening, no, you already have that. That's fine.
I already plugged your butt.
Yeah, man, we've been friends for a long time. Don't you remember anything?
No, I tried to block that out. Oh boy.
I'll remind you. I'll send you the video. I got it.
Oh boy.
I got it on
Therapy,
my old
therapy regression. Here we go.
I got it on my old razor. It's fine. I got it on the razor.
Wow.
Beef. What's our email address?
Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com.
All right, so send this out here. What I want to try to do in one of the upcoming weeks is, either on a regular show or put together a bonus show. If we can handle that. I want to do kind of like an Ask Me Anything / we ask each other stuff. It's kind of, I want it to kind of be, it's not going to be wrestling, topics at all. I don't want to talk wrestling. I want to talk just, us, who we are, what we're passionate about, what we like, what we dislike, some of our, just whatevers. So if you have a question for any of us, not the character of Beef the Legend, or not the character of Alec Ransom, if you have a question for any of us on a, just the who we are level, send that to we will answer it. We'll talk about it. I want to do an episode where we just kind of talk to each other, non-wrestling, let the fans get to know us for who we are, separate of the characters that we, some of us portray, on this podcast. So I want to try to get that recorders, or something in one of the upcoming weeks, is just kind of like little bonus content, something off to the side.
Yeah.
Send your questions in. If you
interestingly enough,
shock and awe.
I'd be happy to break kayfabe.
Now, this is, in fact, our 20th episode, so hooray, everybody. We've made it to 20.
Woo!
But in the Mid-Card Maniacs email to me this week, he said that he was thinking about revealing himself on the 25th show.
Ooh.
So, that might be a nice little tie-in. 25 is a century mark. Well, that might be something we can think of. We got about a month or so to plan it, so,
Yeah, so look, I want to say this, and I'm not speaking for these other idiots, but look, if you want to send in something, if you want to ask us questions about, who we are, what we do, what our lives are, you can email in whatever. If one of us is uncomfortable with answering the question, we're just going to come out and say it. Look, I don't want to answer that. If you ask me where I live, I'm not going to tell you. I live in Mordor. There's orcs everywhere, and I'm armed to the teeth. You don't want to know where I live.
He files his teeth to points, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, right.
Also,
I will straight up bite you. But if you want to know something on a personal level, ask.
Also, what we can do is obviously you can get us at the Twitters as well, at Pit Piledriver, and we can link you out to the various tweets there as well. But what we can do is we can actually put a message up for our little AMA, if you'd like to say, the Ask Me Anything thread. We should be able to pin a message to the Facebook, so maybe we'll do that, and we'll just take questions from all over. So yeah, I like the idea. Ransom, email Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com.
Send us a message on Facebook.
Yeah, message us on Facebook. Just don't ask us to be part of the podcast or be an intern. We're not going to pay you. At Pit Piledriver. Or that's the first time we've referenced him in like a month.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We can, like I said, we can definitely pin that message to the Facebook. But yeah, I'm all in. All puns intended.
That'd be great. Also, a little bit of a pre-kayfabe break, and I'm gonna wrap this up here. Keep an eye out for. I started the Instagram page. I'm working on everything else. Look out for Bungo Guitars.
There you go.
It's happening.
Oh,
it's a thing.
And speaking of Instagram,
yeah. I was going to say
one more thing. My lovely wife has graciously decided to start an Instagram for us as well. Miss Belle of the Brawl. She absolutely loves that that kayfabe moniker of hers. So be on the lookout for that as well. We're going to try and get some more social interaction from all the social neophytes out there. So yeah, man. Good things are happening.
The other thing that we need to mention here as we wrap up here, after Night of the Clash of the Dead of the Book of the Champions of the Dead, I am still your reigning, defending, undisputed Cruiserweight champion of the P3 podcast, whether by hook or by crook, Poot the Bard, baby. Thank you very much to Tiger Bomb Tom, who is nipping on my heels, gave me a tie on the last one, but ties go to Defender, buddy. Thank you to Alec Ransom.
Tiger Bomb Tom?
Thank you very much to my advocate, the madman Alec Ransom, being the best advocate that any champion could ask for, and to Beef the Legend for being a wealth of knowledge and for just giving it your best try. Thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you next week.